And like Samira said, I'll share everything. I'm going to share things at the big event that nobody has heard about, except unless you work directly with me, maybe, throughout the whole journey, just coming from government housing, born and raised in DC, no car. Shaq had to talk me into getting a car. Daniel was like, somebody had to talk you into getting a car. I'm like, yeah, I like mastered BMW bus metro walking, like the cheapest ride you could get, the cheapest BMW you could get. But the one thing that I will say that I'll talk about a lot at the big event is attendance, because attendance brings the recruits, it brings the appointments, it brings the premium, it brings everything. If you have 10 showing up, you're going to have 10 appointments set per week. You're going to have 10 recruits in the month and 10,000 in the month done of production. And eventually it may not happen overnight, but over a span of 90 days, if you're consistent having 10 or more in attendance, you're going to start doing 10 by 10,000 automatically. You will, because 20% of the people do 80% of the work, 80% of the people do 20% of the work. You just don't know who that other 20% is. And if you have less than 10, then you got less than one person or less than two people. You can't have 1.5 of a person, So if you have less than 10 people showing up right now, guess what? The only person that you can depend on is who? You, right? And that's why you may feel frustrated because you're the only one doing everything, but you can't compare, your 2 days of experience, your 1 month of experience, your 2 months of experience to somebody's 50 appointments of experience unless you did that your first month. You know what I mean? You got to go through it, and experience is measured by experience, not by time. So, it's a very surreal moment, but I'm just so proud of our team, everyone who hit the board, and specifically, I recognize them at the big event, but every single day in March, we had an accountability call every single night. And the 3 ladies that were on every single night with me, no matter if they had numbers to report or no numbers to report, or they didn't want to be on, or it was late, or I had to push it back an hour, or we had to go 45 minutes or an hour and a half or 30 minutes, they didn't know. They didn't know how long we were going to go. But Val, Joey in Michigan, and Joey stayed with me a whole week actually too, because she was like, oh shoot, you're going out, I'm not gonna be able to spend time with you. So she came and stayed the whole week with me to see what the day was like as a full-timer, because she's got some plans. But Cheryl as well. So those 3 ladies, Cheryl, Joey, and Val, as a volunteer army, I did not ask them to be on every single night. I just asked whoever wanted to be leaders, next coming up, they got on, and by choice they did that. So I'm just so proud of them for leading. The numbers were done by the team, but it was really driven by the leaders. So great job, guys.
If there's any way to describe Jen, I won't be introducing you for RVP, but if that was me introducing, one of the things that I would say is she is just the ultimate team player, right? What does that mean? That means that if we say that we're having a meeting at 1 a.m, we know she's going to be there. If we have a last second change and we say we need everybody to show up, we know that she's going to be there. There's a call, a Zoom, anything, any play that you need to run, she's going to be able to run it. And she brought up something that I think that we really need to talk about more. I know Josh talks about this a lot. In my orientation video, I talk about this a lot, but really what Primerica is built on is this formula or principle of the 20% rule. That we don't try to judge people on their resume or where they went to school or their background or who they know or how they look, right? Let's be honest. That is how corporations judge people. And that's fine. That's a whole different system, right? You bring in a resume, it's all your credentials, whatever. What we go by is the 20% rule. This works in everything, okay? So 20% of anything, of the decisions you make, of the people in a room, of the players on a football team, right? 20% are going to outperform everybody else. 20% are going to be better in a sense. So what we do at Primerica, instead of trying to determine, hey, is Mary Grace going to be the next producer because she's won at everything else in her life, right? Are we going to hire her because of that? No. What we are going to do is we're going to put a bunch of people in a room, and we know what? If I have 10 people in a room, if I take 20% of that, right, that means that statistically, I have 2 people that are going to perform at a high level. Those are the statistics. I'm going to have somebody like a Jen. Someone's going to show up, someone who's going to be coachable, someone who's going to follow instructions, someone who wants to win, someone who's going to make things happen. Like Mary Grace, that's what she said, right? She said, I accept challenges. Sheila, when Sheila says someone's busy, I can't imagine what that means, as busy as she is. She's, for some reason, just got another dog, right? Which is like more time. But the 20% rule, so this is it, Matt and Mia, right? People are frustrated sometimes because they're like, man, I got 4 people in the meeting and I'm the only one that's excited. I'm the only one that's doing anything. Why? Because if you take the 20% rule, right, that's less than 1 person. If you are at 5 people showing up, right, 20% of 5, now you have that 1 person, you actually become somebody if you have 5 people. The problem is you're still the only one. It's when you get to 10 people showing up that now you found another person that wants it just as bad as you. Now, here's what happens. People say, okay, I have 10 people on my team, and I have somebody who is, I got someone who's just as serious as me. And what people try to do is they try to turn the other 8 people into 20%ers, and they try to go from 2 to 4 without growing this. It can't happen. You are not going to have more than 20%. So versus trying to beat the ratio, what we say is, wouldn't it be easier to just go to 20 people in a room, right? And when you multiply that by 20%, now you have 4 producers. It's a lot easier to find more people than to try to turn an 80%er into a 20%er. If someone is not a starting quarterback, you're not going to turn them into one. You got to recruit more people, right? You got to have another draft. That's what happens when there's a draft for the NFL. You have a new crop of players coming in. That is the only way we're going to find new stars. We're not going to turn bench players into stars. That's kind of like, that's the harsh world of sports, right? And that's why they're drafting every single season, hoping that they have a new top performer, right? Which is really a 20%er. And in that world, the odds are even less, right? So let's go to our next speaker.